Todd McFarlane, welcome to Comic-Con 2023. Listen, you were no stranger to Comic-Con.
Nope. Been doing it for decades. Yep.
Now, I am no stranger to the Todd McFarlane toy line because I get almost every single DC collectible you have. That Batmobile that you guys made is stunningly gorgeous. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's fun to actually get outside the figures themselves sometime and get to do props and vehicles and whatever else, and have a little bit of fun with it. I mean, again, just geeky stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Todd, the reason I love your figures so much is the price point, but the way that they look, they're such beautiful pieces that you can display around anywhere in my house. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, look at the goal both in comic books and toys and all the other business I do is how do you give the most value and price it as low as possible, right? The easy one is how do you build a Cadillac and sell it at Ford Motor prices, right? And if you do that, you'd be surprised at how sort of loyal people will be to you because they're going, oh, he's not trying to pick our pockets. He's actually giving us a lot of value and doing a fair price, right? So if you make a quality product and price it fairly, people will acknowledge that, whether you've got a big brand on it or not, right? Because for a lot of years before I had stuff like Superman, Batman, you know, I had to sell a lot of brands, especially mine, Spawn, that didn't have it. And they're going, it's quality and it's a fair price. Okay, we could do worse than this.
You know, see, I saw that you guys just released the Catman action figure. I just saw that on your Instagram. And these collector's editions look gorgeous.
Yeah, no, like right now, I mean, again, it's San Diego, so you've got your exclusives and stuff like that. So they're got 5 or 6 they're selling at the booth right now that said they're doing really good. We got a pre-order on 3 statues, right? The one that I'm sort of biased to is the Batman with the biggest cape we've ever done. I think bigger than any Spawn cape. The biggest cape I've ever done, ever, based on a piece of artwork that I did in Batman Year 2 years ago when I was working for DC. So, you know, it's about 1.5 feet tall, so you could get all the cape coming in on it, and it folds up and then down, so it's even way bigger. But it's all, you know, again, anything that has sort of detail and you know, some of the props or even just the look and the characters that you want, people will react to it, right? We're doing a Nightfall Batman there that we haven't done for a while, that everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's been a while, time to jump on that bandwagon. So sometimes it just, you have the right time, the right character, the right place.
You know, that speaking of which, you guys are doing I just pre-ordered it. I'm going to have 2 Batmobiles now because I just pre-ordered the Batman that comes with the '89 Batman. Yes. That looks phenomenal. Do you guys plan on doing any more DC past films, whether they be the Batman films or the Christopher Reeve Superman or anything like that?
In terms of the figures, I mean, one of the things that we're selling at the DC booth right now is sort of the Batman trilogy, some figures from the Batman trilogy. So I think the 3 that are there is one of sort of the Joker minions, the
Bane with the coat.
The Bane with the coat, I think, and then the Heath Ledger Joker with a new paint job or something. So those 3 are there. And again, are there more coming? Yes, right. I mean, again, they're obviously, forget whether it's Christopher Nolan, just the Batman movie franchise as a whole from beginning, you know, Tim Burton all the way to today. There's lots and lots to be mined, not only with Batman, but with a lot of other characters. Yeah.
That excites me. Now, I want to switch over and talk about McFarlane Comics for a second.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of comic books that were coming out. I mean, obviously, that's sort of my first job before I broke into toys and all those other things that I got involved with. And for the longest time, I was just doing the one book, right? Spawn.
Sure,
right?
Yeah,
Spawn.
yeah.
I was like a dog with a bone. I'm just gonna put my head down and I'm gonna go Spawn, 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 Spawn. And then we got to issue 300, 301 where we not only is that an anniversary book, but it set a world's record for the longest running sort of creator-owned book ever on the planet. And from there, then in 2021, I expanded, and we came out with 4 books to create sort of the Spawn universe, right, for lack of a better term. And we're just going to continue to expand those. So we've got the 4, so we got 1 coming out every week, and then we're going to add stuff like Sam and Twitch, and Misery. We've got a couple of mini-series. We've got some projects with some celebrities that we'll be talking about at the panel tomorrow. And so, yeah, I mean, we've got 7 that are coming, but there's also about 8 or 9 waiting in the queue behind it. I don't want to. I mean, it took me 28 years just to get to two books, right?
Right.
So I want to almost be cautiously too slow in rolling stuff out.
Sure.
Because just to be mindful of that people have a budget. Oh, by the way, to that point, all 4 of my books are $2.99. Of all the books in comic books being printed today in North America, mine are the only ones at $2.99. Everything else is $3.99, $4.99, or $5.99 for the same 20 pages and upwards. And I'm going, why? Like I'm not a big corporation. I don't have a big building. I don't have to have some Ivy Tower. Like I'll just put it into the comic book and make it as cheap as possible, just like the toys.
I can't believe it because like you keep it under the price point that's affordable to me, and everything is gorgeous. I love it. It's beautiful. Now I got premature handing you that because I got really excited. But talk to me about this for a little bit. Yeah.
So what you handed me here was 20 years ago. I was involved in a music video for "Do the Evolution" with Pearl Jam, right? And that came about real quickly, where we just got a phone call from like Eddie Vedder going back, and he was like, "Hey Todd, Eddie Vedder." You know, these odd phone calls, right? Nobody pre-warned you. Just, hey, Todd, Eddie Vedder. Hey, Eddie, how are you doing? Like, okay. And he's like, we're getting pressure to do a music video. But here's the thing about music videos. Usually they're arguing about like how much they can be in their music videos and whether you're going to be on me or the guitarist or whatever.
Sure.
This was Eddie saying, we're getting pressure from the record label. They want us to do a music video. It's been a long time since we did one, but we don't want to be in it, right? I'm like, wow, that's sort of the opposite. But Todd, I was just watching at that time, this is how far back we're going, I was watching your HBO Spawn, and the bell went off going, we just animate it. We don't have to be in our own video. And so we began, I go, okay, cool, what's the song? He goes, oh, it's Do the Evolution. It's about all time, space, and dimension, and you need to do it in about 3.5 minutes.
Jeez.
And I went, seems like an easy task, Ed. So let's go. And that's the Do the Evolution ended up being, you know, this video that at that point got a lot of notoriety. The song was terrific and the visuals were there. And then even to the very end, Eddie came down into the editing bay on the very last days and helped us edit it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. No, he has an editing machine. I don't know if he still does. At that time, he had an editing machine at his house. Because when he said, here's what I'm thinking the vibe would be, he took a Spawn HBO show and edited it to his song so that I could see sort of the energy. And I just went, wow, Eddie, that's cool. Who did that? And he's like, I did it. I go, what do you mean you did that? You're editing it? Uh-huh. How are you editing that? Oh, I've got a machine at home. So rock and rollers try to become popular so that they can get money so they can buy editing machines.
That's crazy.
I thought it was about Cadillacs and houses in the Riviera, but I didn't know it was about editing a machine. He's very hands-on about the stuff he was doing, at least back then. Yeah.
Now, chat me up. Are we getting a remastered version of this music video?
Right. So we got a 20th anniversary coming out, and they're going to be having a little bit of fun with it. And so what you see here are some of the original, literally from 20 years ago. These are some of the original storyboards that were from that video right there. So
that is incredible. I'll hold that one.
Because again, we started, like I said, it had to be through all time, space, and dimension, right? So we start literally with an amoeba, right? The black, and then the first amoeba split, and then eventually you get through, and this happens to just sort of convey the prehistoric time, and then it fast forwards, and eventually you get into the Dark Ages, medieval, modern, and then we go into the future, right? Because again, we got to keep going, and it goes really fast. I don't know if you've seen it, but it goes fast until you sort of get to the end, and then it all sort of destroys itself, and you're back into the black again. So it sort of comes full circle. But it was a project that ended up getting nominated for a Grammy, and I was like, so I do my first one and go, what? You do a music video, you get nominated for a Grammy? That's pretty easy. Hasn't sort of worked that easy since. But it also was the one then that after that comes, then you can imagine other people see it and they go, hey, you want to work on another one? And then a couple years later, we worked on the Corn Freak on a Leash, and that got nominated and did win a Grammy. So you're going, hey, thanks, Eddie, for putting me on the map. So,
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Now, listen, I know you're a big baseball fan.
So is Eddie.
I was just about to get there. I hear that there's a connection between you, Eddie, and baseball. Tell me that story.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier, right? So
yeah.
This is sort of an odd moment, and I still think about it in my head. that Eddie is a big baseball nut, coming from the Seattle area, whatever else. So he came to the editing bays. It was this sort of row of houses, and he was there every day, helping us with the editing. But he came with this little like briefcase every day. I thought it was kind of professional for a guy who was dressed in black and looking like a dude. And he'd come and he'd lay down his briefcase, and I go, wow, okay. And then then he'd leave. And then he'd come back the next day, and he had his briefcase, and then he'd leave. And he was there all day, so it's not like he was going to other meetings. And so on about the third day or fourth day, we're getting near the end, and I just sort of said, Eddie, hey, I've just been curious. Like, every day you come, you got this briefcase. You don't seem to do anything. I don't understand. Like, what? I don't mean to pry, but, like, why you bring that briefcase? And then he goes, oh, my gosh, Todd. Oh, my gosh. I didn't think you were going to ever ask. Because to this point, I go, what would he have done if I'd never asked? Oh, my God. So he walks over to it, and he goes, click, click, and he opens it up, and inside are 2 baseball gloves and a brand-new baseball. He goes, I heard you played baseball. I go, yeah, my college got paid for on a baseball scholarship. That's what I heard. You want to play catch when we take a break for lunch? And I'm like, what? And somehow he knew I was left-handed. So there was a brand-new glove for a left-hander and one for him, right-hander, and a brand-new baseball. So I go, I'll play catch with you. I'm playing catch with Eddie Vedder. Let's go. So we went outside. It was unseasonably hot.
Right.
There was a heat wave in LA at that point. It's about 104. I come from Phoenix. I'm like a cockroach. 104, that's easy, right? So, but Eddie's out there playing catch. Now, of course, he's going, oh, Todd's a stud. He played baseball. I'm gonna keep up with him, right? I'm gonna keep up with him. But Eddie, he had black boots, black pants, black shirt, and he was smoking.
Oh.
So he's all dressed in black. 2 catches. And about 15 minutes into it, I was like, Eddie, I could see he was going to pass out. But he wasn't going to give, because like that's just that man macho thing. And I go, Eddie, you want to take a break? No. Why, do you? Yeah, I'll just go get a drink of water. He's like, oh. So I go, man, I could have killed Eddie Vedder that day if I just went, oh, yeah, let's just see this dude. I'm going to give you a heat stroke, right? But he was going to go in the heat. And the question was, would he have ever opened up that briefcase if I never asked? Like, would he have just gone and gone, well, Todd never asked? I don't know. It's a weird one, but we got to have a little bit of fun that day.
That is incredible. That's the best story I've heard.
Yeah, who's ever played catch with Eddie Vedder?
And then almost killed him by playing catch. That's even.
I would have been infamous at that point.
Yeah, right? Now, last time I was at New York Comic Con, the lights literally shut down as you were kind of describing to me what you would do for a Spawn trailer for the film.
Yeah.
Any updates you can provide about the Spawn film?
Well, I mean, again, we're right in the middle of a strike, right? So they're to be sort of fair-minded, everybody's they're saying don't go out and promote and whatever. Jason Blum gave an interview before the SAG strike, so people can go out there and read that, which essentially just says, like any other project. I mean, Spawn's no different than a million other projects. Like, you're constantly working on stuff, right? But again, then things that are out of everybody's control come along, things like the pandemic, right? And people get caught in that.
Sure.
And then, up until recently, a writer's strike comes, boom, so that goes down, the actor's strike, whatever. So, but when those inadvertent things aren't happen, then you're pushing the boulder a little bit forward so that we can at some point go into Hollywood and actually sell it, right? So
right.
It's not, I mean, again, I'm hearing about stuff that are 90% completed, and then they're having to shut it down.
Right.
We're so far away from that. Well, like we have to sell it at some point. So for right now, it's pens down on the writing. It's nothing's happened on the actor. I'm just as curious to see how long this all gets resolved. But my guess is that once it does get resolved, and fingers crossed, should be hopefully sooner than later, but I don't know if that's even true, that within 60 days after the resolution, that we should then be able to sort of actually go into the city.
Sure.
And actually say, hey, we're ready. I don't know. We'll see. I don't control any of this. I'm just going along for the ride.
Well, look, Todd, thank you so much for joining us here at San Diego Comic-Con 2023. But can I make one request for my McFarlane action figures?
Do it.
I really love that.
No, I changed my mind. So, no, go
I
ahead.
really loved the Grant Gustin Flash that you guys put out. It's probably my favorite Flash.
Okay.
Any other chance, hopefully, we can see any of the other Arrowverse characters? Besides, I know we have Arrow.
Yeah.
I've owned the Arrow.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, Legends of Tomorrow. You know what I mean?
So here's the thing. Here's the thing about geekdom. And as it gets bigger, it becomes sort of a blessing and a curse. And the blessing is that there's so many people and they support you and they're magnificent. And the curse part is that they all have their own personal wants and needs.
Sure.
Right? So the list of things that we want to do as a corporation, that Warner Brothers wants us to do, that the fans want us to do, we keep adding to that. And the upside is that list is getting long.
Sure.
So I go, we can be busy for years, right? Like there's going to be no shortage of what I can do for the coming years. So, but by coincidence, that character actually is on the list already. So it's moving up the conveyor belt.
Oh, look at that! Thank you so much, Todd. Listen, again, you make the best action figures for the best price point. They're just beautiful and gorgeous to look at. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and thanks for getting out here and doing what you guys do, getting sort of the information to the geeks, right? We need it. I mean, we needed it during the pandemic. We need it now, with a little bit of a lull with what's happening in Hollywood. So that all the people like you guys that are in geekdom that sort of bring out news, you guys are doing a great service for us.
I appreciate that, Todd. You're the man. You're a legend. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks.